welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the final part of the Making of Queen Moon series. I believe this is the fourth part, the fourth video of this series. In the first part we completed the underdress, in the second part we completed the overdress, and the third part I believe we were starting the cloak, and this is the fourth part, which is we all doing all the finishing touches for this cosplay, like the petticoat, trim, and hemming, and stuff that I just need to finish off. So yeah, exciting. So in this part, the first thing I want to do in this video is make the petticoat, because this dress I think this needs a little bit more volume, and the petticoat that I'm using right now underneath is not giving me the shape that I want. So I decided to make my own petticoat just for this costume. So I like to show you guys the fabric that I have. So I have some blue netting here, some blue lining, and some blue tulle. So I'm going to use that to make my petticoat for this costume, and I'm really going to focus on putting volume towards the end of the skirts. So yeah, so let's just go to the petticoat making. And I also recommend that if you haven't seen the other 3 videos before this video, I recommend watching those videos as well, and subscribe for more content like this. So yeah, so let's just go to the petticoat making now. The first step I did for the petticoat was cutting out the lining fabric. Nothing really extraordinary though, because I just cut the fabric piece in half. And then when I did that, I folded the top edge of the petticoat about 1.5 inches to make a waistline so I can feed my elastic through it. So yeah. After the waistband was sewn, I started to sew the sides of the lining together and hopefully make it look like more like a skirt than just a random piece of fabric. So yeah. Then when all of the skirt is nice sewn in together, I started to feed the elastic through the waistband channel using a safety pin on the edge so I can feel where my elastic is without getting it lost in my fabric. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just feeding the elastic through the waistband channel. Then I started to work on the actual poofiness of the petticoat, so I'm grabbing my navy blue tulle and I start feeding it through my sewing machine and making sure I have a large seam stitch thing so I can pull the tulle after I'm done. But at the same time, I'm also slightly gathering the tulle when I'm sewing it, so it's taking me some more time. And then when I'm done gathering the tulle, I started to attach it to the lining part and I pin it on, and when I got it to the place where I want it to be pinned, I started to sew it with my sewing machine on and securing it. Then I grabbed my netting fabric and I started doing the same thing I did with the tulle. I have a large seam allowance, and then I'm just starting to feed it through my machine and gathering it when I am done. And the netting is going to be on the bottom of my lining to give me that more volume on the bottom, which I'm wanting to do. So yeah, so when I'm done gathering all the netting, I attach it to almost to the bottom of the lining piece, and I just sew that on with my sewing machine, doing the exact same thing I did with my tulle. So I just finished sewing the petticoat, which is, I don't know if I told you guys yet, but it's also the first time I sew a petticoat. And let me tell you, after sewing petticoats for the first time, I can honestly say I hate sewing them. Like, man, I only sew like 2 petticoats. I sewed this one and another petticoat for another costume at the same time, and oh boy, did that take so much out of me. Like, petticoats are a workout. And I admire people who had to make petticoats all the time for ball gowns, because I made 2 and I'm like mentally done. But of course I had to make more petticoats in the future for a lot of my gowns that I'm going to make. But man, I admire y'all who makes petticoats, because it's tiring. Anyways, but I finished the petticoat. I think I'm just going to add one more layer on it off camera because I have about one more round, like enough for another layer for the netting in the petticoat. So I think I'm just going to add another one just to add some more volume on the bottom. But yeah, so that means I had to move on to the next step because I finished one step, and that's the step I've been dreading the whole project because I hate putting them in. Not because they're bad to put in, it is it all can go wrong. I'm gonna put the grommets on for this outfit. The part I've been avoiding since the longest time, but the time has come to put them on. And anything can go wrong when wearing grommets, especially, well, it's not the grommet part itself, it's the holes you punch into it, because I just have the worst hole puncher. So yeah, but I had put the grommets on because that's how I'm going to wear this outfit. So yeah, I'm just going to put the grommets on right below my bust all the way down to the waistline. It's not going to be a lot of grommets, but just enough to close it. So yeah, so let's put those grommets on. So I figured out where I want to put my holes for my grommets, and I marked it with pins instead of chalk because I couldn't find any chalk and I was too lazy to look for any, so I just used pins for this part. But I recommend, making sure you have chalk, marking where you want to go, make sure it's all even, so nothing will be crooked. But when I figure out my hole placement, I started punching holes in it and started putting my grommets through. And then after that, I did it on the other side, but I'm just recommending making sure, you have chalk and the proper tools to know where you want to put your grommets. If not, you have a big chance of being crooked. Lucky for me, it didn't happen here, but it could have happened anyways. So I finally put the grommets on in this dress, and I'm super excited that they came out okay, because I recommend if you put grommets on, don't eyeball anything. I recommend you measure, make sure you make the holes line up so they're not crooked and everything is aligned, because with grommets, you have put holes in, and if the hole's not in the right place and you want to move it, oh well, you're just gonna have this hole here. But anyways, I was dumb and couldn't find my chalk for my outfit here, so I had to eyeball everything because I was too lazy to look for it. And thankfully for me, everything lined up because, I just hope for the best. I did one side and then roughly did the other side, trying to match it close, and it came out fine, and I am pretty proud of myself. Anyways, so we're going to do the next part of this outfit, which is the last part for this outfit itself, which is the trim. Originally, how I was going to do the trim is I was about to buy another brocade fabric similar to this one. It was black with blue flowers with silver leaves, and I'm gonna make that the trim, and I'm gonna put like some silver trim, like tiny, I'll show you later, and put that on the side here along that. Like, I plan on making my own trim and make it work for this outfit, but I decided that probably won't look good, and I don't want to waste money because brocade is expensive if it doesn't work out. So I went a different direction. So I just got my trim in the mail a couple days ago from Amazon. I'll link it down below. It was $12 for one, $15 for the other one. I got 20 yards of each trim, which was pretty good. Like, I don't like buying on Amazon just because I think I should support as much businesses around here as I can, but the fabric stores where I live by, their trim are like $3 to $10 a yard, and that's a lot for me. So, but I can buy the exact same trim or a similar trim for $12 and get 20 yards. I had to go where it's better for my bank account, or more like my parents' bank account. So yeah, so I'm going to show you the trim that I will be using for this outfit. So they just so they just came in the mail. I opened them and everything. So I'll show you this package first. So the first trim I got was this one. As I said, I'll link them all down below. Let me take it out here. Anyways, I got this trim here. It's super pretty and sparkly. It came in bulk, and I got the whole bolt of it. This one was $15 for 20 yards of it, and this one is going to go on the dress here. It's really pretty. It's a silvery beaded trim, and I just think that would just look so nice on here. So that's my main trim I'm using here. It's this trim right here, and I love it. Let me put that down here. And then the ones in here, I got this trim. Originally, this was the trim I wanted to use for the dress because it had the edge and the details on the side, and I thought that would look better, but it was simply too small because I bought this trim for this dress originally and the other trim for my cape or my cloak, but I decided to switch them around. So this one will probably be for my cloak, or at least the bottom here trim. And the last thing, the last thing I got for this dress is these moon pendants. I did go more detailing to them in my cloak video, but if you didn't know, I originally bought these for my cloak because I wanted a moon collapse, but they were like $40 online, and so I decided to make my own moon collapse made out of these cheap moon charms. I got about a dozen for $5 again on Amazon, and but I'm going to use them for other places on this dress too because I got so many of them. But I thought I'll just show you these moon pendants. So yeah, I'm just going to pin the trim along here. I planned it going around the collar, then straight down, and I'm going to hand sew them on. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I unroll my trim off its bolt, and I start placing it where I want my trim on my dress. So I start pinning that on. This was the moment I realized I didn't like the way the trim looks on my outfit, so I decided to change it and use the trim that I'm going to use for the cloak instead. And this trim has a straight edge with a nice little scallop thing going on, and I like this look much more than the other trim I was going to use, and it makes it much more Star versus the Forces of Evil. Then when I realized I liked this trim more, I started to pin it in the same place the other trim was, basically going down the middle of my dress and on the sleeves. And now I get to do my favorite part of any costume, which is sewing on the detail and the trim. I love hand sewing on trim. It's so relaxing for me. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I just put on a long movie and start sewing this trim on. All hand sewn, and it took me a little while. It took me 4 days to hand sew all this trim, but it was worth it because I enjoyed it. And when the overcoat trim was sewn, I started to work on the underdress trim, and I only put it along the neckline here, and I just used a silver trim that I have in my stash of trim here as the trim I am using, and I love this trim. It's super cute. So yeah, I'm just hand sewing that on too. So, we just finished showing all the trim onto this outfit. It took me so long because I had to hand sew all this trim on, but it was totally worth it because it came out super good, I think, and I am glad that I decided to use this trim versus the original trim I'm going to use, because this makes it looks a little bit better and a little bit more Star vs. Evil, because like if you decide to make your own original design of Star vs. Evil characters, especially if they're in the butterfly family, if you add any sort of like scallopy pattern, it's gonna look like it's belonging in the show. So yeah, I'm very happy how the trim looks and the way I placed it, and I really like how this outfit looks. So that is great. So that means since we finished basically the dresses, we can move on to the last and final part of this cosplay. Woo! Cheers all around, because we're almost there. We're almost there at the last step to the finish line. Hopefully, if I decide not to be extra. And we're gonna make the belt piece. So yeah, which is exciting. I don't know how it will look because I have an idea in my head, but I don't know if it'll be executed good. So let's find out. I'm just going to put a belt like right here to give me a longer torso look and hopefully make me look a bit better. I don't know. So let's just work on and pattern the belt now. Aren't you excited that we're finally making the last piece of my outfit here? So I'm working on the belt here, and I just made a pattern out of newspaper and getting the shape that I wanted for my belt, and I just put it on top of the fabric, and I'm using the fabric that I use for the underdress as my belt fabric. So yeah, I cut out 2 pieces of that, and I just start sewing that on my sewing machine and make sure I take my time because it's just such a weird shape, but I like it. And it makes it different and unique, kind of like me. When I had that all sewn together, I started doing the detailing on the belt, so I'm going to add some trim. It's the same trim I used for the underdress neckline, so has some consistency here. So yeah, I'm just hand sewing more trim on. When the top part of the trim is done, I also add some trim on the bottom part of the belt. So yeah, I just love trim. When the trim was all done, I grabbed one of those moon pendants I bought for my cloak, and I just sewed that on the same way I sewed on my pendants I did for the cloak. And I just love these little moon charms I got. They're so cute, and I will link them down below because I love them. And it's not me if I don't add any rhinestones somewhere, so I put some rhinestones down in a pattern that I like, and I glue them on with some Julep glue. I really like this glue a lot. I use it when I glue on all those rhinestones for my Elsa costume, so yeah, I really trust it. I also use black and silver rhinestones for this belt. Finally, after all this time, we made it. we made it to the finish line. I can finally say Queen Moon is done. This cosplay is complete. And let's just say I love it. When I finished the belt right here, as you saw in the clips before, it just brings in this whole look. And this is like, this belt piece is my favorite part of this cosplay, and I'm very glad how it came out. I'm just very excited how the cosplay came out overall. It's just so fun and exciting seeing something you sketch out on a piece of paper, basically a doodle, and making it become a real thing, a real physical object. And just seeing my design right here just makes me feel something, you know. I love this cosplay, even with all the pain and suffering in it, because like, man, did I cry a lot during this cosplay because of this cloak. You know what the funny thing is? He's kind of like my last thoughts of this cosplay before I sign out. The part that was easiest for me to make for this cosplay, I thought would be the hardest. The easiest part of this cosplay for me to make was this overdress. For some reason, it just was like easy. And I'm just like, how? Because I had to do a lot of modification, but everything just like went smoothly besides the sleeve. But like, and the part that I thought I love to make the most and the easiest was the hardest and the most difficult thing, which was the cloak. So it's just funny how things come out and how things happen and stuff. So yeah, so that's really the conclusion of this video and this series, because there's nothing left to do because it's all finished. We have the trim, belt, cloak, and the dresses. So yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I'm really glad you made it this far of this video, and I hope you guys come back for my next video. And if there another character you love me to make, please leave it down in the comments below. I would love to know what you guys would like to see me make. It could be another Star Wars vs. Evil character, because that's what I'm making right now. I am making another Star Butterfly outfit, so I recommend going to my Instagram so you can see all my projects in real time. Or if there's like this another character you're definitely just like, you know, Tiffany, you'll just be a great blah blah blah, you should make blah 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 from blah blah blah, let me know that below, because if I give enough people to nag me about one character, I might do it. So yeah, just hope you guys enjoyed this video, hope it wasn't boring or cringy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. The immortal monster will long be haunted by the darkest spell of Moon, the Undaunted.